What is up, y'all? Kristian Quincosa here. Welcome back to another video. Today, what we're going to be talking about is this exact ad strategy that we use to generate over $25 million in sales. We have managed around $7.5 million in advertisement spend across Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube. But let's jump right into it. My goal for this video, before we actually jump right into it, my goal for this video is to give you guys not only the campaign structure and the strategy, but everything that leads up to it. Because it's very easy to think that a campaign structure is going to solve all your problems when really there is a bigger, I guess, a bigger stack of components that help the campaign strategy work. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So over here we got our screen. We're gonna write the keys to the strategy. And these are the main focus points, or the key points and things that you have to have in your mind when executing on this strategy. You will need to know them. We're going to be going over creatives, testing, knowing your numbers, all that fun stuff. But I'm going to write you out a quick list of every single thing that we pay attention to. And then we'll go over the campaign structure. So the first thing is killer creatives. We are in a extremely creative dominant advertisement industry, or advertisement time, where it's not so much of nobody runs Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever. So if you start running them, you're going to start seeing success. You have to stand out. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over testing, knowing numbers, time versus money as it relates to how long should I test for, when do I know that I've tested enough, strong backend, which is extremely important. So this is everything that comes after the marketing. I'm going to put after here, after. And then we also got, last but not least, the campaign structure. But I want you guys to know the success of this is entirely dependent on your understanding of these things. That's why I'm talking about them today, because I could show you this in about 3 minutes and explain to you our process and what we use. But unless you have these top, 5 points, this won't even matter whatsoever. So let's jump right into it. Killer creatives. I got my notes here. So if you see me looking this way, I got a bunch of notes. Make sure that I don't miss anything. So killer creatives. You got to stay on the 3 E's of advertisements. If this is a video that you plan on not taking notes on, I think that you should take notes on it. That's my opinion. And this is extremely important. These are the 3 E's of advertisements. So I'm going to put entertain, educate, execute. Every single piece of content that you create should have these 3. Billie Jean taught me this when I was first jumping into the whole marketing space. But I'll kind of explain to you the whole process between this. But the main thing is entertaining. Right now, in order to separate yourself from everybody and actually get people to consume your content, there needs to be a pattern interrupt. Pattern, I'm going to put INT here. Pattern interrupt, meaning we need to stop them in their tracks and get them to focus on whatever we're about to talk about. That's going to be the key. That's why entertainment is number 1 on the priority. And how can we do that? We could scream. We could use props. Hey, before you guys skip this ad, or stick something in their face, look at this. This is pretty funny, right? Anything, a big whiteboard with some writing on it, being at a beach, jumping into a pool. Pattern interrupts, things that stop people in their tracks and get them to focus on whatever you are about to talk about. So the reason why entertaining is important is not only to get people to stop and paying attention, but also it is a two-way street when you're advertising on Facebook. Two-way street. Facebook and YouTube for the most part, because Google, it's just keywords, right? So there's no entertaining there. On Facebook and Google and Instagram, their valuations as a company are determined based off of average time use of the application, how many monthly active users, daily active users, and how long people stay on the platform. So if your advertisements aren't garnering the attention that they want, your CPMs, which is your cost per 1,000 views, is going to skyrocket, meaning you're paying more to get in front of less people, because they see a trend. Oh, every time they see this guy's ads, they jump out and they either close the application, they skip it, they move on to something else. So it's not contributing to our overall goal as a company. Their goal is to keep people on the platform, and if your advertisements aren't keeping people on the platform, they will show it less. That's simple. So that's why entertainment is number one, and it's at the forefront of the 3 E's. Education is where you're able to add value. You want to educate people on who you are, what you do, what you offer. This is where you are going to establish some level of credibility within your advertisements. And then last but not least is execute. This could also be known as CTA or call to action. Let them know what to do. There's so many times where people get these 2 parts right, but they never give a call to action. They just end on the education or the value add. But if we're not giving a call to action, then it's going to be extremely difficult to get leads, because we're not telling them what to do. And you want to be hyper specific. So I'm going to give you kind of like a run through tiny home building. Can't even talk. One of our clients is a tiny home builder. A perfect ad for them. Let's say they're running, 10% off or free delivery for the month of July. Say, with something in the background, maybe a tiny home, maybe 3 tiny homes that they have on their lot. Say, hey, before you guys skip this ad, I want to deliver this to you guys for free in the month of July. If you guys are in the market for a tiny home, we're the number 1 trusted tiny home builder in the United States. I'll add some value on the tiny home. We could do anything from 500 square feet or 100 square feet to 800 square feet or 1,200 square foot in the tiny home. So I educate and then I execute. If you guys are interested and you guys want a tiny home and you want to deliver for free this month, hit the link down below. A little page is going to pop up. Enter your information. That's going to secure your free delivery. And then one of our guys in the office, and I'll probably turn around and show the office, one of our guys in the office is going to call you within the next 30 minutes and get you on the calendar to either come in or send you over our options, blueprints, whatever it might be. So those are the most important things that you need in every single advertisement. And then video. Everybody should be doing video. There's not a time that it has been more necessary to do video. You used to be able to get away with just some graphics, buy this, or free inspection, right? You used to be able to get away with that. That's no longer the case. This is going to increase your cost because of what we spoke about, the importance of entertainment. If we're not entertaining, if we're not grabbing attention, and we're not adding value to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, they're not going to show our ads, and it's going to be more expensive. So if you have a graphic, it's going to be harder to acquire clients than it would be if you had a video. Another reason, people buy from people, they don't buy from companies. So people buy from Colton, which is the owner at Saddlebrook. They don't buy from Saddlebrook, right? They're talking to a salesperson at Saddlebrook. They're buying from John. So when people see other people in the advertisements, it's extremely important. It's not just, an image and a billboard and someone's sitting there. There's a call center behind it. No, you guys want to show them the projects that you're working on. If you're a roofer, get on a roof. If you do pools, get out and show them the process of a pool being made. If you're a dentist, be in your office, right? Like, you guys want to involve your everyday life or show them, use the things that you have at your disposal to grab that attention. and show them that it's an actual human that's on the other side of this advertisement. The more you do video, the better you're going to get at it. Obviously, you're going to suck at the beginning. Everybody sucks at the beginning. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get in front of camera, the less you care about how you look, how you sound, and all that other jazz that you care about a lot when you first start. So just do it and do it often. The second thing, so we got killer creatives. If you guys are taking notes, I'm going to go back to here. So we got killer creatives. Now we're going to go into testing. This strategy that I'm going to be going over involves a lot of testing, not only testing on the creative side, but also on the audience side. You want to have multiple videos. You want to have multiple audiences that we're going to talk about. And the more you test, the easier it becomes to scale. The whole goal of testing, and I'll elaborate this when I go over the campaign structure, but let's say you have audience, I think that's how you spell it, audience 1. And let's say you have audience 1 through, I'll put lines here, 1 through 6, right? And you're spending money on this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Your goal is to treat these as revenue streams. Meaning if we're running advertisements and, you know, this one's not performing and this one isn't performing and this one isn't, but these 3 are, these are your revenue streams. So the more you test, the more revenue streams you could create, the more options you have, and the easier it is to spend more money. Imagine you're basing all your revenue on one audience, and then that audience decides to die down and not work anymore. Now you got to find a new one, and you got to go through the whole testing process again. So it's better to test in mass, find the ones that work, and then scale those. And I'll show you guys how we do that a little bit later. So let's go back here real quick. That's not what I want to do. That's what I want to do. Let's go back to here. We got testing done. Now we're going to know our numbers. Now we're really going to know our numbers. The key things that you guys want to, by the way, the structure that I'm going to talk about today works for e-commerce. Most of the things that I'm going to be talking about has to do with companies that depend on leads in order to generate revenue. So let's go into that part. So numbers wise, the numbers that we want to pay attention to are cost per lead. Obviously, we got cost per, I'll put here appointment. God bless me. God bless me. Cost per app. And then we have cost per acquisition. I know a C goes here, guys. I know. Cost per acquisition. The more we know about our numbers and where we want to be, the easier it becomes to spend more money accurately. So knowing that our average lead cost is $20 and our average appointment costs $150 and our cost per acquisition is around $450 allows us to scale knowing that we are in the green. So if we sell a $3,000 a month package or a $20,000 service, knowing what your profit margins are and what it's costing you to acquire with these advertisements is what's going to allow you to scale. And if you don't know your numbers, it's going to be extremely difficult to do this predictably. So take this into account, figure out the numbers that work the best for you according to what you're selling or what the lifetime value is, right? Like if you're a good example would be like a plumber. A plumber might charge $150 on their first deal, but over the lifetime of that client might spend $1,500 with them because they're in the system. They're always going to call you. You're the guy that they're always going to go to. So you want to base your numbers typically off of lifetime value rather than your first offer if you have a lower ticket item. If you have a monthly membership that's $100 a month and it costs you $150 to not book an appointment, but instead sell somebody, let's say your cost per acquisition was $150, you know that month 2 you're going to be profitable. So the goal is to keep them for as long as possible in your monthly membership. So knowing your numbers is important. Let's go ahead. Let me take a little swig of my sparkling water. Let's go back to our list so we can start knocking things off. So we know our numbers now. Now we got to figure out time versus money. And this is something that a lot of business owners don't know about when they get into advertisements or spending money on advertisements for the first time. But in the world of ads, you have time versus money. Oh, what should my budget be? How much should I spend at the beginning? How much time is it going to take to work? Well, we have to understand the fundamentals of running advertisements. The only thing that we're doing when we're running advertisements is we spend money on ads, and Facebook, Google, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all these companies give us data. You guys got that? We spend money, they give us data. And then we use this data to make decisions on whether we want to change a landing page, change our creative, change our audience. That's what we do with the data. But if we spend a little bit of money, we are going to get a little bit of data in a short period of time. If we spend that same little bit of money over a long period of time, the data that we get is bigger. Therefore, we could make decisions later, not so much in the first 3 days of running an ad, right? If we're spending $50 a day running an ad, I can't make a decision in the first 3 days because our data is going to be very little. We're going to have very little data to base our decisions off of. Imagine making a marketing decision off of 35 landing page views. It's tough. You need more people to visit so you know what your conversion rates are. You know how many leads you're actually getting. You know what your click-through rate is and all that stuff. Or what your CPMs are when it comes to your ads, so you know whether you need to change the creatives or change the audience. So the more money you spend, in a shorter period of time, the more data you are going to get. Now, not everybody could say, hey, I'm going to spend $200, $300, $400 a day, $1,000, $2,000 a day. Not everybody could do that. Therefore, just understand the relationship of time and money and know, well, if I have a lower budget, it's going to take me a little longer to figure out what's going on. But if I have a higher budget, I can make decisions a little bit faster because I'm getting a bigger pool of data to make decisions based off of. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. What do we got next? We got time or money that we just did. Let's go back to our handy dandy list over here. So we did time or money, and then now is a strong backend. Strong backend. Every single thing that we just spoke about, and every piece of marketing, no marketing is going to be good enough to support a weak backend. Backend being automated text and emails, sales process. This has to do with your sales team and how good they are, right? What your closing percentage is as a whole. Closing percentage. Like, these type of numbers matter because there's no amount of good marketing that you could do that could fix bad sales team or bad process after you get a lead. I'm looking through my notes here. Automated text and emails is something that's extremely important because you want to be in contact with the client sooner rather than later. If your sales team doesn't work on the weekends, you need to have texts and emails that go out so that when your sales team gets in, they have texts and emails that are replied to that they could start hammering as soon as they get in on Monday morning. But if that's not set up, then Monday comes, they opted in on Friday night, Monday comes and they don't even remember who you are, what you do, or what you offer. Which brings me to my other point, which is that the sales team needs to pick up the phone and dial. Activity needs to be high. Activity needs to be high. Activity being prospecting, so picking up, dialing, making multiple dials a day, 100, 200 dials a day. Obviously, all of these numbers depend on your lead flow. But if there is no activity, then your sales are going to be down. So the activity of the salespeople need to go really, really high. We just went through a 3-month process of fixing a very similar process within one of our clients, and their average month was about $1.2 million. They'll do close to $7 million this month. Mind you, 3 years ago, they did $6 million as a company in revenue in the year. So fixing this is always going to strengthen your sales. So if you don't have a strong sales process back-end side of things, you're not going to be able to leverage any type of amazing marketing. To touch up a little bit more on the back end, first touch. First touch is, in my opinion, the first time a sales rep makes contact with the prospect or the lead. So the time to first touch, and this is going to sound aggressive, but try to be within the first 15 minutes. Meaning, lead watches your advertisement, they submit the information, you get the lead in your CRM, in your email, whatever it might be. The moment you get that lead, the clock starts and you got 15 minutes to give them their first call. So the time to first touch is extreme priority when it comes to having a very strong back end, because, and this is important, Google and Facebook, when I say Facebook, also think Instagram, because they work together. Facebook owns Instagram, so you run on the same exact platform. Long story short, Google and Facebook aren't dumb. They know that if you are a plumber and you just got a lead from their platform, they're going to say, wow, this person just became a lead. So that means that lead is interested in plumbing. Well, we just so happen to have another 3,000 advertisers, another 3,000 ads that are currently running trying to get plumbing leads. So what are they going to do? They're going to grab that lead and they're going to show them different ads from different companies. So they're not only going to opt into your ad, but they're going to opt into the person across the street, the person on the other side of the country that's also selling consulting services. They're opting into multiple different advertisements. And if we don't get a hold of them before the other people do, we might lose business. So that's why we try to keep it aggressive within the first 15 minutes. I worked for Grant Cardone for about a year and 2 months-ish. And one of the biggest things was 15 minutes. I challenge you, go buy something off of his site, whether it's a hat, a book, sign up to his university or whatever. You're going to get a call within the first 15, max 30 minutes. Because they're appointment setters. Their job is to set appointments and they make $300 a day. So time to first touch is extremely important when it comes to a strong back end. So now we get to talk about the fun stuff that I told you I could teach you in 3 to 5 minutes, the campaign structure. It's time for the campaign structure. But like I said, the campaign structure doesn't work if nothing works. And for the record, this is not the end all be all. This is not the best structure in the world or the only way to generate leads on Facebook. It's just the way that we have done it. We found success. We've worked in God knows how many industries, and our process has worked. We've spent over $7.5 million in advertisements, and it works. This is my little, I guess, formula, but it's not the end all be all. So let's jump into it. I always have one campaign. I'm going to put C for campaign. So I always have one campaign, and my goal is to grab my daily budget, whether that's $50 a day, whether that's $100 a day. And the rule of thumb is 10% of your daily budget per ad set. I don't recommend anything under $50 a day. I don't. Because it's going back to the time versus money conversation, it's going to take a long time for you to see anything. I don't recommend anything under $50 a day. If you guys are going to try this on your own or try it for a client, our clients are required to spend a minimum of $3,000 a month. And we average around probably 11 to 12 grand a month in ad spend per client. So $50 a day is going to be your lowest, and you're going to do 10% per ad set. So you have your campaign, and then this is kind of like, think of this as the body of the advertisement. And then you have ad sets. So these ad sets are your audiences. So I'll just put ad sets here, ad sets, and then I'll put down here audiences. Meaning over here I could do something like open targeting, people interested in entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. You just do a bunch of interest. So if you have $100 a day, you're going to do 10 at $10 a day. If you have $50 a day, you're going to do 5 at, excuse me, I'm doing the math completely wrong. Let me do the math live for you real quick. 50 divided by 5, you're going to get 10. Same thing. Sorry. So you're essentially always going to get 10. That was funny. So you're essentially always going to get 10 ad sets, because you're doing 10% of the budget. I should have done that math in my head. Anyways, long story short is your goal, going back to our testing, is to make as many revenue streams as possible. And your ad sets, so your audiences, are what will become your revenue streams. So the whole goal is, let's assume that our budget is $250 a day. We're spending $25 a day, $25 a day per ad set. Come day five, I'd probably make a decision at $25 a day. I'd probably make a decision around like somewhere between day 3 and day 5, depending on how much data we've accrued during that time period. But let's just say come day 5, my goal is to come in here and say, wow, this one's working, and these two aren't working. So what I want to do is I want to grab these 2 ad sets, and the first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate them. And I want to double, so 2x, the budget on the duplicate. So these are the duplicates, and these are the originals. These are going to be 2x the budget. On the originals, I want to scale by 20%, or 15%. Now this number can change, right? If you talk to 15 different advertisers, they're going to give you 15 different answers. But the whole concept of Facebook advertisements, think of this as these are little wooden logs, and this is a little fire. Your advertisements are a little fire. Oh, they're starting to gain some steam. Well, what happens is if I come in and I grab a can of gas, and I pour this on the fire, it's going to explode. And I don't want it to explode in my face. I want to give it gas little by little. Let's go back one. I want to give it gas little by little, so the flame gradually gets bigger. And the flame represents your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So going back to knowing your numbers, think about your cost per lead, your cost per acquisition, your cost per click, all these things that you're tracking. If you give it all the gas, it's going to blow up in your face. Everything's going to go up. Two things could happen. It could go really well or it could go really bad. But I don't like to guess. So I go little by little. That's why we said 15% on this page. Where we at? 15%. You're going to up the budget of the originals by 15%. And I'll do that daily as long as my KPIs are staying on track. As long as my KPIs are continuing, okay, well, my cost per lead is good. My cost per click is good. My CPM is straight. I'm going to continue to raise the budget as long as my KPIs are good. And we're going to do the same exact thing on the duplicates. Okay, cool. The duplicates have ran for, 2-3 days now. They're spending $50 a day instead of $25 a day because we doubled the budget. They've been doing good for 2-3 days now. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and let's continue to spend more money. Now, you could do this duplication process, as many times as you like. But while you're scaling the ones that are working, you want to be continuing to test new audiences. New audiences that you're testing. You started with 10. You found 4. Now you want to test another 6, whatever your budget allows for. And while you're doing this, you want to continue to measure everything on the back end. Are the leads answering? Are we talking to them? Are they good? Are they bad? Are they qualified? Are they not qualified? Because that's going to give you an idea as to where you should make changes in terms of either audience or creatives. So this is the exact framework that we use. We use it for every single client and we follow it. Unless we have a proven system that we could go based off of, this is typically what we are using. So I just gave you guys 30 minutes of value. I just gave you guys 30 minutes of value, I hope. If you guys enjoyed this, watch the whole thing, and you guys absolutely loved it, like and subscribe. I post videos like this every single day, and it would mean the hell. It would mean the hell. It would mean the most to me if you guys like this video, subscribe, and share it with a friend that's either advertising, getting into advertising, or they have a company and can benefit from something like this. So I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.